The laser level is a fantastic tool. We use them all the time, but they do have their limitations. And the biggest one of them is this stuff, sunlight. We can't see that laser whether we're here, or over here. So today you're going to learn how to overcome all of these problems, because I'm going to teach you how to use a rotating laser level, staff and receiver to do some of the most common landscaping or building jobs around your home. Now, if you've never used one of these before, they look daunting. It looks like there's a load of technical stuff that is hard to learn. It's not. I'm going to break it all down for you. The first thing we're going to do is set this up properly, because setup of these is absolutely crucial. Now, the model we're using today is a huepar RL300HVG, and these are around £450. I know what you're thinking, it's expensive, but wait until you can see what it does and then judge at the end of this video. There'll be a link in the description to the one we're using. So our tripod, a key bit of our laser level setup, and we don't need to worry about where we set this up in relation to where we're working. I'll show you why that is in a minute. You'll notice there's no retainer in the middle of the legs like there is on a normal tripod. There's a reason for that. We want to be able to move this in all different directions, and I like to set mine up quite well spread apart. Now, the reason for that is we don't put our laser level on until our tripod is level. The laser level will self-level to 5 degrees. So what I do is I use a torpedo level first to make sure that I've got it somewhat level. And that's why these legs spread apart are the best thing to do, because we can use the little foot stands and we can just tweak that tripod in all directions until it's level, and you'll see the spikes will dig in the ground, and there we go. That's now a perfect setup. Now we can place our laser level on the top of this tripod, and what you'll find if you're doing a big project like an extension, you're going to be moving this around the garden, and a lot of people get confused that this tripod can be moved but our laser can still be in the same place throughout our job, and I'll show you how that works a little bit later. So don't worry too much about where you put the tripod for now. Now we can fix our laser level to the top, because we know the tripod is within 5 degrees of level. So let's turn the laser on and it'll self-level. Now that huepar has enough battery to last for well over a day of runtime, a working day. We've had that running on our extension project for hours and hours and hours and haven't had to charge it. Now, why am I walking this way? Well, you probably assume that when I get to that fence behind me, providing I don't walk backwards into it, you're going to be able to see the laser line on the fence. Well, you're probably not that surprised actually. You can't. There's another way that we receive that laser. Now this is our receiver and clamp. It clamps on our staff, it's got a screen and a detector on the front and a second screen on the back, so that we don't have to do this, we can just look through it and we can see the same thing. Now this little device gets clamped on the staff, but if we turn it on, we'll see if we can pick up that laser. At the moment, it's going to be quite a static level from that laser, but you'll see how we use this in relation to the staff very shortly. I'll break it down, don't worry, it's not going to be confusing. If we lower this down, that's telling us that we're nearly there. There you go. When we get that solid tone, that is level. Now it's level within a few mil at around 30 meters. If you're using it over 30 meters, of course, pro-rated down, it will become less accurate. But typically for your DIY work, you're not really going to go outside those 30 meters. So it's pretty useful in a large area like this for any landscaping or garden work. So you've seen how the receiver works, you've seen how the laser work and how they talk to each other. But at the moment, that's a fairly static level and it's pretty useless without this bit, the staff. So let's attach this to the receiver. Now at this point, it's not important where we attach it on the staff. We'll get to that very shortly. So if we just screw that clamp onto the receiver in a rough height of that laser for now. Now, as I mentioned, these are incredibly useful for landscaping and garden work. And one of the most simple uses for one of these is grading land. So taking a reference point from land, such as this grass here, and bringing something such as that driveway there up to the same level. That driveway is horrendously unlevel. It's got a big dip in the middle. Let's go and have a look at how we would use this to get it perfect. So check out that big dip in the middle. We'll use that as an example. Let's have a look. This is around, I reckon, about 60 mil down on the level that this driveway would want to come up to. Now, if we wanted to bring this big dip up here, we wanted to add some stones in here or some hardcore or something to bring this up, what we'd do is we'd turn this laser level on and then we'd slide the receiver up or down on the staff until we found the correct level. Now this is just the technique I use for grading land. What we would do is we would set up a datum point for future use if we were doing this over a long period of time. But just for this example, what you'll be able to see is, there we're level. And under the staff there you can see we've got a dip of about 60 mil. Now I'm going to fill that dip with some stones and try to bring that level up. So what we're going to see is that's too high at the moment. Perfect. So you can see it's really easy to grade land using this. We could do this whole driveway and we could take reference points from the grass if we wanted to bring this driveway up to that grass level in exactly the same way. But we wouldn't. We would set a datum point because that laser level at the end of today is going to move. It'll be in a slightly different position tomorrow, the day after, the week after, the month after. So we need to set a reference, a datum to work from in the future that we can use in lots of different ways for lots of different jobs. So those of you that watch my videos week in, week out, drop us a comment down below, give us a bit of feedback. Do you like these sort of videos? Do you want me to show you how to use some more technical tools that you might not see every day? Let us know, because I can bring more of that to the channel if that's what you want. Now, if you're finding this video helpful, don't forget to hit subscribe, because that means you won't miss the next one, and hit like because that helps this video to reach and help more people like you. Now, a couple of weeks ago on the channel, I built a block and beam shed base, a shed base that is almost indestructible. If you want to see that video, link will be in the description. I used blocks on hardcore in the ground to create the perfect level to put my timber beams on top of. Now, the old way of doing this would be to level one block to another. Actually, for a guess, that ain't too bad. We would then do that in all directions, that's miles out, until we had every single block. We'd do it horizontally as well, miles out. It's just, I've lobbed these on the ground so they're not going to be level, but we would do that for every single block. Now the great thing about the laser, if we say that this block here, the middle of this block, is the level that we want, and we can see that that one's miles out. Lift this up, there you go. So it's about 20 mil too low. So if we whack 20 mil of this stone under there, that replicates us putting more hardcore under there. There we go. Now that one's perfect as well. And it wouldn't matter if we grabbed this block here and walked all the way over here with it. Let's say that this was our furthest away block. It wouldn't matter if we were miles away. So you can see our level would do exactly the same job. We could have one of them blocks 50 meters in that direction. We would be able to find exactly the same level. Now we could even do that with liquid things like concrete, pouring concrete. You'll see recently on my extension series, you'll see I use this to get a good fast reference point, because when you've got a concrete lorry waiting outside for you, you haven't got too long to mess about. So having one of these at hand just means that you can go around, touch the surface and find that perfect level. Now what about if I wanted to lay 50 of them blocks, and I weren't going to do them all today, and I went and moved that laser level? Because I know that's what you're thinking, that's going to throw this whole thing out. Well, there's a way that we set a datum point or a reference so that we can come back to this throughout any point in a project and come straight back to that level. Now there's a couple of ways that we can set a datum point that we can refer to in days, months or weeks to come. Now that laser level is about 20 meters away, but we want to keep the level of that block. Currently this is set to the level of that block. So what we want to do, lower this down, make a little mark, pop a screw in the fence, because we know that this fence is never going to move, it's never going to change. A fence might actually be a bad example because maybe it would move very slightly in time, but you get the point. A brick wall's probably better. And we can now pop this, turn the sound back on. So you see I'm not cheating. Pop this on that screw. That is our permanent point for that block. There's another way that we can do this. Bang a stake in the ground. We can do exactly the same thing with a stake. So now let's head and move our laser level and sort of give you an example of what would happen if we wanted to come back to that level later, but put our laser in a completely different position or height. Not only am I going to move the tripod, but I'm going to raise it up to prove to you that no matter where we move this, we can come straight back to that level that we set earlier. There might be times when you use a tripod this high. For example, if we were now building an extension and we wanted to take a reference of the kitchen height there through that window because we wanted our new extension to come up to that height, we might then want to put this laser through the window. So there are times where you'll need it that high. Now, you would think that by moving it like that, raising it that high, we'd completely lost the level of that block. But let me show you how we use that datum point that we just set up to get the exact perfect level again, even though the laser's in a totally different position. All we'll do, extend the staff, because it's going to be somewhere up here, and move the receiver all the way up until it's somewhere, hasn't got to be perfect, but until it's somewhere near. And then all we do, place the staff on the screw. We know that screw's the block level. That's our datum point. That's never going to change. And then if I place this somewhere where I think it is, I'll be able to see on the back screen, and you guys are going to hear this. There we go. That is now the block level again. So we'll now be able to take that back to the block and carry on the job that we're trying to do, whether that be extension foundations, a concrete pad, a patio, grade and land, whatever it might be that is going to take longer than just one day. We can go back to that at any time because we have a datum point to work from. This video is sponsored by Ultimate Tool Competitions, my website where one of you lucky winners is going to win this monster 30-piece Makita power tool kit. This kit's jam-packed with everything you might need, including the latest first and second fix nail guns from Makita, a plunge saw kit including the rails, and enough batteries to power the whole kit. So to be in with a chance of winning this huge kit, make sure you head to the link in the description where the tickets are just £1 and you could be in with a chance of this lot landing on your doorstep. So that's a few of the simple ways that you DIYers can use one of these around the garden to improve your DIY game. But there's a lot more technical ways that we can use one of these. And I've recently been working with a builder on my DIY extension series, and we show you how you can use one of these to do something like build your own extension. So we're going to set out a dam course height and a finished floor level height, and that way throughout the rest of this build we'll know and have a reference point, a datum point throughout the whole build. So Aaron's going to give us a hand with this bit. He's a builder, this is what he does every day, and I think it'll be better if he explains most of this because that's what he does for a living. Up for it?
Yep, let's do it.
Let's go.
So all we're going to do is just establish a DPC height. Obviously make sure you turn your receiver on. We're just going to hold the staff, or the bottom of the staff, on the DPC course there. And then we're going to set our receiver up until we pick up the beam. So obviously we're now established DPC there. We just want to check it on the other side of where the extension's going, just to make sure that it corresponds. So we'll just hold that on the DPC there. So as we can see from that, we've got a slight discrepancy. It's only around 10 mils, so it doesn't really matter too much. And then all we're going to do is take this and make a datum point. So you just want to get yourself a bit of tar band or anything, make yourself a little stake. I'm just going to knock that in the ground. So now it's really important that you put this somewhere out of the way so it doesn't get disturbed throughout the build. Obviously keep it out of the way where you're driving diggers and dumpers and stuff. And then all we're going to do is we're going to lower this down until we get it there. Just draw along the bottom of the staff, and then we know on that stake then that is our DPC height. So all we're going to do is we're just going to write on there.
He's shaking like he's nervous.
DPC, and then we're just going to pop a screw in there to make it easier. Next time we come up to use our datum, we can just sit the staff on top of the screw. If you can, try and get the top of the screw level with that line there, and then just leave it nice and long like that. So next time when you come along and you put your staff on there, if I turn the sound on, we should be pretty close. So now we're going to try and establish the finished floor height to see if there's any difference between that and DPC. So all you want to do is put your staff onto your finished floor height. Obviously you can see that's not beeping, so we know there's a difference. So you can try lifting it up. It's not that way, so we're going to need to try and go down the staff. So if we just take a measurement, we're on 11 there at the moment, and then we'll come down. Now you can see there's a difference. DPC was at 11, we're now at 8, so we can see there's a difference. This one's in inches. Get tape. So we can see that's about 35 mil difference between finished floor level and DPC. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop this on our datum stick as well. Do the same again. We'll just pop the screw in, just like that.
So we can use those levels or those datum points to now figure out all the levels throughout the build. That's right, isn't it?
That's correct. So we'll use the DPC one to work out the finished height of our concrete for the foundations. We'll basically work out what works best for brick and block work, so what we call gauge. And then we'll use the finished floor one to do our oversight build up, so we can work everything back. We know this is now the finished floor height where we need to finish up, so we can work everything back from that using the laser for like a hardcore height, concrete height and stuff like that, and screed at the end, so then we know we'll end up lovely and level with the existing floorless inside.
Oh, he's good, isn't he? So hopefully you can see that you can use one of these in a really technical way or a really simple way to up your DIY game. I know that since I got this, it's completely changed the way I work, and it makes my work a lot more accurate. I hope the video's helped. If it has, click on one of these because they're bound to help as well, and I'll see you guys in the next one.